I want us to look at how the Word of Faith and Prosperity people and the leaders, how they get the money from the people, the methods that they employ to get the monies from the people. And then afterwards, I want to discuss how they spend that money.
Come now, you rich, weep and howl for your miseries which are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted, and your garments have become moth-eaten. Your gold and silver have rusted, and their rust will be a witness against you, and will consume your flesh like fire. It is in the last days that you have stored up your treasure. As blood is thicker than water, so is truth mightier than lies. Therefore, allow me here to present to you nothing but the truth.
To a person who doesn't have anything that much, a weak person, a poor person, a widow, somebody who's unemployed, a desperate person, they will come on TV and they will say to them, give such and such amount of money to God, and that is to say to them, and they will say, even if that money that you have is the last that you have,
even that little you have left, give it to God.
No matter how poor you are, no matter how desperate you are, sow a seed, that's the term that they use, so that they can get that money from you into their own pockets. That's how they get it, right? They target mainly the weak, the poor, and the desperate, because they know that in that desperation, it's difficult for some people to think properly. Hence, they can take decisions that are not supposed to be taken, but because of pressure and because of the promise, a false promise that they give, that if you do this, God will do this, if you do this, God will do this, and some sort of a formula that actually doesn't work. And they know it for the fact that it doesn't work. They say, this is how much you should give. They give you the amount that you should give. Sometimes they'll tell you to empty your bank account.
And immediately that night, we looked in our bank account just to see how much we could enter on King's Pay to send our best seed. Our best seed was to empty our bank account.
And then they'll promise you that if you give them your money, then God is going to bless you just because you have given them your money. And then a person who doesn't really have much will take everything that he has, or whatever amount, a huge amount of money, and throw into these ministries or to these people, because he have hope, or they have hope that something, maybe sickness, or maybe diseases, or maybe unemployment, maybe or any challenge that they have, they'll take the last money that they should have used to do something else that could maybe have taken them out of that problem, maybe to get a cure for that sickness, to go to a specialist for that challenge. They will take that money, instead of giving to the doctor that's going to help them physically or on their health that they can be healed, they will give it to Pastor so and so or Minister so and so, hoping for something that the minister himself says to them knowingly, because Benjamin says in one of his audios that I listened to, a lot of people, they don't get it. He knows that. Yet, he continues now and again, now and again. And he has got friends, and he has got people that he have trained, and he's continuing. That's how they get their monies. They steal it from the people. Now, how do they use it? When they take it from you, this is what they say, so that the gospel can be spread, can go abroad, so that every soul will hear the gospel. They tell you that the reason why they take this money is so that they can spread the gospel, right?
Right now, sow a $1,000 sacrifice, not a seed.
And when he talks to you, I'm going to have you come down here and sow $1,000 in the Lord's work.
That's what they say. But you remember the words of Kosti Hinn, how they will spend the money. You know, 25,000 US dollars is how much, if you convert it to our South African rand, is almost $500,000 per night. one night, 500,000 from the poor, from the destitute, from widows who are sitting, waiting for a hope that will never come to pass. Knowingly, Benny Hinn or anyone else that is doing that have taken their monies knowingly. They are waiting. By that time, this person is having some nice time in some very expensive hotel, 500,000 rand worth of a hotel per night. From a widow who is sitting to not even having food or some necessary things, some necessities. He's sitting, he's sick, he's hoping for the hope that will never come. That's how they get the money. How do they spend it? What they say to you when they take the money: we are going to spend it for the work of the Lord. We are going to spread the gospel, blah, 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 blah. Let me remind you something. Those of you who are in South Africa, you remember some few years ago, a pastor called T.D. Jakes, he came to South Africa. He came to ICC in Durban. How much did it cost you to go there? No, I'm not talking about driving to Durban. I'm talking about entering, the fee for you to enter into that ICC. Remember that. It will depend where we are going to be sitting and stuff. Okay. Let's leave that behind. There was a time when a pastor from Christ Embassy in Randburg was going to come to PE when I was still in Christ Embassy in Port Elizabeth. We had to hire a stadium because he was going to be coming to the stadium, which didn't really work out very well. But obviously the program happened, but the turnout of the people was disappointing. But we had to pay for the stadium. You remember in the video that I made about my experience at Christ Embassy, there's something I said. I said, one of the things that happened is that Pastor Freedom went area, the same pastor that was going to come to PE, he came before that and he made us make vows that we are going to give a certain amount of money. For me, I made a vow under that same pressure that I was going to give 100,000 rands. That money, part of it, maybe, I don't know, was going to be used for the stadium. So we needed to give money for the hiring of that stadium. Wait. T.D. Jakes in USA, he has got people who are every Sunday giving money into those baskets. And he says to them, it's for spreading the gospel to places such as third world countries like Africa, and we are going all out. We are spreading the gospel. But when it comes to Africa, he makes Africans to whom he is claiming to spread the gospel to pay. Freedom World area in Randburg, he has got people, even big contributors, who are giving a lot of money because give so that we can spread the gospel. If your pastor, if they come to South Africa, those who are not from South Africa, who pays for the stadium? Remember that in his country, in his land, he tells the people, give so that they can go all out to just spread the gospel. When it's time to spread the gospel, the people to whom he spreads the gospel to has to foot the bill. Right? There was a time in Utrecht, my hometown. There was a pastor, if I'm not mistaken, this pastor is coming from, he's a very famous pastor in South Africa. He was, I think he's coming from Mpumalanga originally or something like that. He was called, or he was invited to Utrecht to come and minister there. We had to make contributions for the pastor to come. In other words, to put fuel in his car and come. And put together money for the pastor when he is in Utrecht, not to sleep in Utrecht, because you know Utrecht is a small town, right? He's too big for that. So he had to travel every day. He was going to be with us for 3 days. He had to travel every day from Utrecht to Newcastle. Okay? So he was going to sleep in Newcastle, 40 kilometers away from Utrecht, every day. So we had to provide for that for 3 days. But then in Newcastle, he was not going to be sleeping in any brother's or sister's house. He was going to be sleeping in a hotel. So we had to foot the bill for the hotel. And when he leaves, his price, I don't know if it's still a case, if it's still, I think it has gone up, but that time it was 50,000 rands. For him to come and minister in our church, we had to foot the bill for all these things. He's coming, he's staying there and stuff. But when he leaves, 50,000 rands. That's the price that you pay. Listen, now I want to remind you something again. Go back to his church now in Mpumalanga. He has got baskets full of money every Sunday by people who gives every Sunday. And they are told, it is so that I will spread the gospel all over the world. Really? All over the world? Utrecht is not all over the world, right? Or it's not part of the world? Because if you go to Utrecht now, you make the Utrechters to pay you. To pay for your coming, to pay for your stay, and when you leave, you go with the price. When exactly do they spend this money? When exactly do they spend the money that is given to them to spread the gospel? They never spend it on you. People of Kenya, who paid for that stadium? Did Benny Hinn pay for that stadium? No. When exactly do they pay? Do they give the money? Do they use the money that they collect from widows, from orphans, from people who are poor, claiming that they are spreading the gospel? When do they use it? Because whenever there is time to spread the gospel, they charge the people to whom they pay. They have to spread the gospel. No wonder 500,000 rand worth of hotel per night is the only solution. They don't know what to do with it. There's a lot of it. They don't know what to do with it. Somebody say, oh, these people are generous. They are so generous. Some people, they used to tell me that Pastor Chris likes to buy cars for people, and also that Pastor Copeland, it was Pastor Chris, in fact, who said Pastor Copeland had bought, I think, 7 planes for different people and ministers and stuff. Really? Okay. If I take 100 of you and I take money from all of you, I take, let's say, 100,000 rands from all of you. All right? Let's make some calculations here. I take 100,000 rands from all of you. And all of you, I have 100 people. So it means I have 10 million rands, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then having taken that money from you, then I decide, out of my generosity, to buy 5 of you fridges, right? I buy a fridge for each one of you that cost 4,000 rands. That's too low. That costs 10,000 rands. So I'll spend 50,000 rands buying fridges for you. And I call all of you to come with cameras and witness me giving to 5 people 5 fridges. Am I generous? No. I'm smart. I've robbed you and I've caused you to think that I'm generous by giving back to you not even 1% of what I've taken from you. Hence, they should live so flamboyantly, so luxuriously, because there is nothing else they can do when it's time to spread the gospel, which they claim that they are spreading by taking those monies. They still want to make you pay. They still want to make those people to whom they spread the gospel to pay. When are you going to use it? Rather buy 5 private jets, own mansions, and own this and live and sleep in 500,000 rands hotel per night. There's nothing you can do with that money. It's too much. I heard, I don't know how true is this, that there's one of them who would give TB Joshua so much money that Tibu Joshua was so afraid of that money that he took it and stuck it inside the toilet. What else can you do with so much money? But how did you get it? You see, the money stuck inside the toilet of TB Joshua was taken from the poor, the weak, people who are struggling, people who have skipped rents, people who have given tithes even when they had no money, people who have sowed seed for their loved ones who were sick and they even died, so that their monies could be taken, thinking that it's going to be spreading the gospel, but only to find out that their monies is going to be stuck inside a toilet somewhere in Nigeria. Should we clap hands and say, oh, bravo, beautiful, beautiful? Do we have to clap hands? In closing, don't think something is right just because you think it favors you for now. The law, I'm talking about generally, the law is designed to protect, to promote us so that we can live better. If somebody is oppressing someone, don't try to stop us for speaking the truth in love against this evil. Brothers and sisters, it is time to put an end to this evil. God bless you.
It doesn't square with the Bible at all. It's a complete scam. It's utter deception. There's no place for it in the church. No pastor should ever do that. There is no model for, hey, give all your money to my thing. That's a scam, complete scam.
Nothing but the truth. The truth.